This is being sold as countering propaganda, but how do you do that? After all, if government agencies put out information to the public for the sake of altering a point of view, isn't that the very definition of propaganda? In fact, that definition is this: information, ideas, or rumors deliberately spread widely to help or harm a person, a group, a movement, an institution, a nation, etc. So this law essentially funds U.S. propaganda. But isn't that illegal? It was. But no, not anymore, because 3 years ago, wrapped inside the 2013 NDAA, was an amendment that removed the ban on the U.S. government creating propaganda and then showing it to U.S. citizens. That ban, by the way, had been in place since 1948. The 2013 amendment struck down a ban on domestic dissemination of propaganda material produced by the State Department and the Independent Broadcasting Board of Governors. It neutralized the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948 and the Foreign Relations Authorization Act in 1987 that had been passed to protect U.S. audiences from our own government's misinformation campaigns. And in 2013, when that bill was passed, most media said, oh, don't worry, the U.S. government will never actually create propaganda. Well, now they've created a mechanism to fund it. So what you need to know is that politicians claiming we need to fund U.S. government propaganda to protect the public from the Russians and from the Chinese. But there's a reason it was illegal for over 60 years for our government to propagandize the public, to protect the public from our own government. Reality check. Right now, 2 out of every 3 Americans in the latest polls say they have little to no trust in mainstream American media, because 2/3 of Americans already believe that they're not getting the truth. That number will likely only get worse with the legalized American government propaganda. So what is the solution here? Well, how about media just tells the truth, just reports facts, does not act as an arm for political parties or for government institutions? If we want to combat propaganda, both foreign and domestic, then shouldn't we just inform the public?
President, earlier this year you told us you had ordered your administration to cease and desist on payments to journalists to promote your agenda. You cited the need for ethical concerns and the need for a bright line between the press and the government. Your administration continues to make the use of video news releases, which are prepackaged news stories sent to television stations, fully aware that some or many of these stations will air them without any disclaimer that they are produced by the government. Comptroller General of the United States this week said that raises ethical questions. Does it raise ethical questions about the use of government money to produce stories about the government that wind up being aired with no disclosure that they were produced by the government?
There is a Justice Department opinion that says these pieces are within the law so long as they're based upon facts, not advocacy. And I expect our agencies to adhere to that ruling, to that Justice Department opinion. It's been a long-standing practice of the federal government to use these types of videos. Agricultural Department, as I understand, has been using these videos for a long period of time. The Defense Department, other departments have been doing so. It's important that they be based upon the guidelines set out by the Justice Department. Now, I think it'd be helpful if local stations then disclose to their viewers if that's, that this was based upon a factual report and they chose to use it. But evidently in some cases that's not the case. So anyway.
I guarantee that's happening by including that language in the prepackaged report.
Yeah, I don't, Oh, you mean a disclosure? George W. Bush and I.
Well, some way to make sure it couldn't air without the disclosure that you believe is so vital.
Ken, I mean, there's a procedure that we're going to follow, and the local stations ought to, if there's a deep concern about that, ought to tell their viewers
that it was a matter of real concern that planted stories intended to serve a national purpose abroad came home and were circulated here and believed here, because this would mean that the CIA could manipulate the news in the United States by channeling it through some foreign country. Now, we're looking at that very carefully.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal?
We do have people who submit pieces to American journals.
Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks?
This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
At CBS, we had been contacted by the CIA. As a matter of fact, by the time I became the head of the whole news and public affairs operation in 1954, the ships had been established, and I was told about them and asked if I'd carry on with them.
We have quite a lot of detailed information, and we will evaluate it, and we will include any evidence of wrongdoing or any evidence of impropriety in our final report and make recommendations.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to the national news services, AP and UPI?
Well, again, I think we're getting into the kind of detail, Mr. Chairman, that I'd prefer to handle in executive session.
Senator, do you think that you named the news organizations in your final report?
That remains to be decided.
I think it was entirely in order for our correspondents at that time to make use of CIA agent chiefs of station and other members of the executive staff of CIA as sources of information which were useful in their assessments of world conditions.
Would you say that continues today?
Well, I would think probably for a reporter it would continue today, but because of all of the revelations of the period of the 1970s, it seems to me that a reporter's got to be much more circumspect in doing it now, or he runs the risk of at least being looked at with considerable disfavor by the public. I think you've got to be much more careful about it.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. And here's a picture that the mainstream media has been running with for the past few days, in light of the events that happened in the town which is pictured in the photo. And as you can see to the left, you can spot the devil horns. And if you look at the two buildings, you could say maybe that symbolizes the Twin Towers. Also funny, you happen to have a white man standing on one side of the cop car, black man standing on the other, both with their phones in hand. Meanwhile, the cops are hunkered down behind the cop car in battle position. Lots of different things going on in this one photo. So much to see. I just want to focus in on this guy right here. If you take a look at this guy right here, he just seems to be laying there a bit funny. I look at his legs. I look at the way his body is positioned. And as I look at his face, I start to ask myself, is that a real person? Or is that a freaking mannequin? So the question in this video is the guy on the ground literally a mannequin? Or is that a real man? I actually looked for a higher resolution photo. The best one I could find was this one, and it was actually a slightly different shot with another guy walking in the view, and the black guy is now turned away. And the mannequin on the ground, actually, we can see him with a little more clarity in this shot. Again, this is the most HD resolution pic that I could find. So when I zoom in on this guy, it looks kinda like a real person, but it also kinda looks like a mannequin. And the leg there, the leg looks awfully funny. So I'm just gonna put it to you guys, the viewers. Do you think this guy on the ground is a real man or a mannequin? Please comment down below, like and share this video, and we'll decide one way or another in the comment section if this is a man or a mannequin.
Conspiracy theory content generally, our goal is to promote authoritative content to our users. So we have two principles that guide the way here. That's the first one, is we want to provide users with authoritative, trustworthy information.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I only have a minute and a half, and I don't really need to hear what you're trying to provide. I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
This video, obtained by ABC News, appears to show the fury of the Turkish attack on the border town of Tel Aviv.
A border town bombarded by Turkey's military. This video right here appearing to show Turkey's military bombing Kurd civilians in a Syrian border town. The Kurds who fought alongside the U.S. against ISIS. Now, horrific reports of atrocities committed by Turkish-backed fighters on those very allies.
This video is about calling hoaxers out when they're using dummies, folks. And you guys definitely know I've been doing this for such a long time, folks. A long time exposing these dummies. PK, RussianVids, man, like Jeff C, you know what I mean, TM Films. I mean, all of us, dude, like we there's like a group of us, you know what I mean? Even How I See the World, now he's not even here anymore. It's inactive, but I mean, there are so many people calling these guys out, and it's telling, you know what I mean? It's when you really put the nail in the coffin on these and their hoax events, right?
To be a doll here. If you look at the hand,
like, it doesn't even look like a real body. And this is Jeff C talking right now, right? Jeff C has done like the LAX hoax, the Sandy Hook hoax. He's broken down a lot of hoaxes, right? And I know some of you guys don't agree with Jeff C, but man, he's a good dude, man. So I mean, I like how he breaks things down.
And
you guys see that the dummy body always bounces. And I'm going to show you a bunch of other ones that I broke down a long time ago, how the dummy bounces. See that? He's just like his legs just bouncing up and down. Look at his right leg. You see that? It's like caved in.
Why would your knee be caved in if you're just being rolled over? You see that? It's like caved in. It's a rubber body. Watch it again. And it bounces. Yeah. Yeah, it just like bounces up and down. And I mean, why are they rolling them over, right? Where's all the blood, right? And the pale skin and all that. It's not really tan or nothing, right?
It's very white and pale, and it's the way it's flopping around kind of thing. And
it's all for the show, right? It's all for the show right here. Why would you put your let the person's hand just hang down? You know what I mean? Like they're dying. If you're like EMT or like you know, ambulance, put the arm in the rail or whatever it is, right? But they don't even do that, folks. Where's the head? If this person is dying of respiratory or something, how come you're not, you know, letting them breathe? Why is everything covering their whole body and their head, right? Doesn't make any sense, right? So anyways, they move it to this scene here.
Show you the slam dunk. I'm going to prove to you 110% that they are staging things here. Okay. So again, this is from the same video. Here you can see the arm joint here. You can see the hair, the fake eyebrow sort of thing, right? It's a doll. In fact, I took a photo here of it just to show you a bit of clearer sort of picture of it.
Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
I don't think there's anybody out there who can argue with a straight face that this is a real human being that they're showing in this. So, YouTube community, they're showing dolls, and they're showing these New York hospitals, Brooklyn and whatnot, and here we got a clear instance of a doll. So the first one, as I said, you can debate that. You cannot debate this. There's nobody on the planet that can debate this with a straight face and tell me this is actually a human being. So why would the hospitals use a doll? Or why would the media resort to using a doll? There's no way that they should ever do this type of stuff, because anybody with a modicum of intelligence is going to come in and say this is staged.
Exactly. I mean, if the whole pandemic is happening, why would you be practicing with dummies at a time where, oh my gosh, these hospitals are being overran, but yet you're over here playing with dummies? It makes no sense, right?